Welcome to episode 2 of the Let's Go Comic Book Show. My name is Justin.
I'm Matt.
And we are excited to bring to you the second episode. So, how you doing, Matt?
I'm good.
You good? How are you doing post-Super Bowl?
Post-Super Bowl.
Correction. Sorry, we can't say Super Bowl. We don't have no rights to that name. How are you doing post the big game?
That big game.
We'll have to go back and beep that.
Yeah. The big game was great. Do you actually watch the big game, or you just watch commercials interspersed with sports?
I think I went because we don't have like a paid cable service, so I went to Apple TV, and if you downloaded the Fox Sports app, you can watch the game for free. I was just more excited about that. I was like, we can get it for free, but then I actually left my house, and
it's like that stuff they give away at the store, and you're like, I'm not going to use this, but I got it for free.
I'm like, can I get some free hot dogs at Costco? So anyways.
But you don't even like hot dogs. But it's free.
But it's free. I got free hot dogs. Anyways. Yeah. So, yeah, I didn't really watch much. I didn't even really watch much of the commercials. I watched them all Monday, which is the best way to watch them.
Yeah, because then you just knock it out all in one shot.
I'm like, 20 minutes of commercials, boom. I don't want any of these items, but I will watch a sexy Mr. Clean.
Do you have a favorite coming out of that? A favorite commercial? Or, there are a lot of trailers and stuff, too.
Yeah, Matt Richey, the king of segues. I will tell you, I really like the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer.
Yeah, so before we do that, though, can we talk through what our rating system is here on the Let's Go Comic Show?
Oh, man, thank you for reminding me. So if we don't support a product, a show, or comic, we're just going to say it's a don't go. Straight up, don't buy that garbage. It's trash. It's trash juice. Don't get it. Trash juice has originated on the Let's Go Proper show. So if you listen to that, you'll know what trash juice is.
Nice.
Trash juice. So if it's like, go, check it out. We're just going to say, go. Give it a go.
Yeah, it's pretty neutral.
It ain't on us. My thumbprint may not be on it. Is your thumbprint on it?
No.
No.
It's a neutral, like, hey.
It's neutral. Check it out. If we're like, man, you should definitely get this, let's go. It's a let's go. Go do that. Go buy that. Go watch that. But if it's definitely like, dude, leave what you're doing right now. Leave your kid in the car. Just kidding. Don't leave your kid in the car. That's a bad idea. It's a gotta go. If it's a gotta go, go do it. Go see it. Don't not do this, watch this, read this, buy this. So don't go, let's go, and a gotta go. So we're trying to keep it positive. We want you to go and do these things, but there is an expediency with some of these things, right?
Yeah. So let's start talking about that.
Yeah, so just really pumped. I don't know how you cannot be pumped on Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.2.
Yeah, not after seeing the first one, you can't not be pumped. Like,
yeah.
Going into the first one, it was a lot of unknowns, I think, because no one knew who the heck this was. But after that first one, man, and then with the way the trailers have been, I feel like maybe you don't want to go if you don't want to have a good time.
Yeah. Even my mom, who, again, this speaks to Marvel's like branding. She saw the trailer and she was like, "Oh, the raccoon movie." But in the tree, she thought it was cute. But
yeah, and my wife is like pretty like neutral on comic book films outside of the ones with Chris Evans flexing his arms in some capacity,
or anyone named Chris.
I know, right?
Chris.
Thor. That's another problem. But anyway, that's marriage talk aside.
Yeah.
It's one that she's really excited for. She was like, "Oh man, I loved that movie. I can't wait to see the next one." So
that's good.
So I think that's great.
Yeah. I thought the trailer was really fun. What I liked a lot, if you go on their social media, if you go to their Twitter page, they have a lot of these like animated GIFs of people dancing, doing like the Groot scooting, the Green Machine. There's some funny dances. I like the poster they put out of the tape deck. Did you see that one, of the tape stacked?
Yeah.
That was fun.
Check that out. They're really cashing in on the whole Baby Groot thing. And I thought when I heard about it that I was going to be annoyed with it a little bit. Yeah. Like it seemed really gimmicky, but I'm like all in on it. Like every little like bit they do with that, like that whole like he said, "Welcome to the freaking Guardians of the Galaxy," and he didn't use freaking. Dude, you can do whatever you want, like with the I Am Groot stuff. It's just I feel like comedic writing and that possibilities are endless.
Yeah, I read that he's not even called Baby Groot in the movie. That's just more of a marketing thing.
Totally.
Like they're like, yeah, he's Groot, but we call him Baby Groot for purpose of.
Yeah. Yondu's mohawk is just looking glorious.
Yeah, it looks way better in this than it did previously. Liking it.
And this was the first time we really got a focus on Nebula being part of the team.
Yeah.
Too,
yeah.
Which I think we heard about, but being able to see that, I think the team dynamic is going to be cool. And the trailer, I think, It was a good overview. Like, I still have no idea what's going on in that movie, which I love, like, not knowing what's going on, but just getting excited for what you see.
So, last thing about Guardians. Check out the cybernetic shake from Nebula.
I didn't even see these before. This is great.
Yeah.
Is that a hashtag?
You just go to their...
Hashtag cybernetic shake?
No. Just hashtag GOTG Vol.2, and it'll give you everything. And everyone has, like, their own dance. Like, the other Chris. Dang, he has the galactic shovel going on, Star-Lord. So it's just funny. Having fun with it. Not to be that guy, but I don't see, Justice League doing this anytime soon. But you know what? It doesn't have to be. Anyways, I did want to talk about Justice League. They put a photo out last week. Did you see it with Wonder Woman, Cyborg, and Aquaman kind of inside of it? It looked like a Kryptonian ship or a Darkseid ship or some type of a ship.
They look like superheroes staring intently at things, which seems to be a common theme in the pictures they've released so far.
Yeah. So that first photo they put, not the first, but the photo they put out with Flash, Wonder Woman, and Batman, they're looking up. They're kind of like looking up like maybe it's Superman in a black suit and a mullet.
My only thought coming out of this most recent picture, like including Cyborg, was thinking, man, Cyborg looks a little thin. Because usually I feel like he's kind of a little more bulky.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you hear the most recent, like, maybe spoiler-ish, like, news about him? Spoilers.
For something that comes out in November, that's possibly not true.
Hey, you can never be too safe?
You never
know. Maybe that's not true.
Tell us.
Yeah, that he is... Because the news has been that there's basically 3...
Mother
boxes. Yeah. And one was in the possession of the Atlanteans, one was in the possession of Themyscirans, and then the third one has kind of been like, we don't know what it is. And the rumor right now, maybe news, maybe not, is Cyborg is that third mother box.
Oh, that's cool. I mean...
that makes it interesting. I feel like that could get sticky down the road. That's right up there for me. Like, if it's true with Vision having an Infinity Stone in his forehead and that's what powers him. Because I'm like, dude, eventually the bad guy's going to take that away and then that character doesn't do their thing anymore. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Depends on how compelling the character is. It doesn't bug me. But if I think about that idea, I do kind of like the idea that Darkseid came to Earth a long time ago, was defeated, and now he's coming back. It's kind of interesting to me. Like, and then they're on the hunt.
Or maybe even Steppenwolf came before.
Yeah. Like Steppenwolf. Again, I don't have a problem with Steppenwolf being like the main baddie. Like, there's that, who's Steppenwolf? What, who's he? But like, go back to Avengers. No one knew who Loki was. Like, there's no investment into Loki.
Yeah.
He was just done well. So hopefully Steppenwolf is done well. And
that's the main thing with any story, man. Comic book or otherwise. Like, make me care about the character. I don't have to care about someone going into a story for it to matter.
Chances are, I didn't care about Matt Richey until I met him.
Oh, man.
There we go. Hey. All right. Enough of that, but that was good. So, Super Bowl, uneventful.
Yeah. Super Bowl? I thought there was some...
I heard it was the greatest Super Bowl of all time, but I got nothing to reference that to.
I loved it. Football, I feel like as a nerd and musician and whatever else in my life, like, I feel like stereotypically I'm not supposed to enjoy that, but I don't make the time for football a lot, but when I do, it's a lot of fun.
Well,
and so I love
that
game. And I didn't care about either of those teams until like the third quarter of that game where I'm like, holy crap, this is awesome.
Yeah.
If
I get in the right room with the right people, I can get into it. I usually tend to go for the underdog or the team everyone hates. I'm like, oh, you hate that team? That's the team I'm going for.
Of course you do.
It's just funny, like,
for those who don't know Justin, he has this need to be against everything.
I'm against.
That's his
totally
initial response to
unless I'm for it.
Unless it's Batman, then he's initially for it no matter what.
I'm for Batman.
I'm for
I one time, shows you my brain, I wrote a letter to Wizard Magazine with a list of why Batman and Robin was a good movie.
No.
Yes. I think there was a sentence. This is funny. There was a sentence that I wrote about
How old were you when you wrote it?
Oh, gosh. I think I was 17.
See, I was going to give you...
no, I was like, just
like,
blind.
Oh, you were young. It's okay. Nope.
And I didn't like the movie. Like, I remember leaving the movie like, man, this wasn't... But I was...
But you just had to argue...
A defender. Yeah, I was like... Batman was prepared. That's why he had ice skates. Like, he's always prepared. Like, he knew he was going up against a freezy guy.
Yeah, shark repellent. I mean, he's going to know what he needs in any given moment.
He's always ready. waiting for Galactus. He'll take him down. So yeah. Anyways, all right, we can jump into a little bit of news right now. You broke the bad news to me this week, which maybe it's not bad news, but initially
maybe it's not.
I mean,
it just I feel like it's those things that kind of makes you go like, man, it's maybe bittersweet. So Luke Cage ongoing announced for May, written by David F. Walker, who is currently writing the sweet, enjoyable run of Power Man and Iron Fist that's been going. I've really enjoyed that. Like I said before, like I'm not super familiar with those characters. I don't have a history with either of them. But again, I mean, it's a good story and making me care about those characters and that dynamic. So he's going to be writing a Luke Cage ongoing. And it seems like that implies, even if they haven't outright announced it, that Power Man Iron Fist is going to be done at issue 15.
yeah.
Which
Well, I thought they said it was.
makes me sad.
So didn't they say it is ending at 15?
Maybe it is. I thought what I read, they were kind of connecting the dots, that the solicitation for April for issue 15 seemed kind of final. And then the announcement that the same writer is writing a Luke Cage book and there's an Iron Fist book coming out and a Defenders. So, I mean, maybe they did announce it officially, but even if they didn't, it makes sense for that to be the case.
Oh, man.
Which just could be good. It just bums me out. There's just been a really fun dynamic in this book. And I wish Sanford Green was going with him too, just because I've grown really accustomed to his art style. Like, it's just really stylized,
It's a
really
fun
unique.
book. Like, that book is a Let's Go, like officially stamped by us as Let's Go comic book show. as a Let's Go. That's a fun book, man.
Yeah.
So yeah. You know, I don't think it really says if it's done, but it feels like the writing's on the wall. Marvel cancels everything about every year, anyways, and
it seems like they're on kind of this
run.
this ramp up towards Defenders in the summer, kind of making sure everything is synergized. So it's kind of to be expected. Like, I'm not surprised by it, just a little bummed, like, that potentially, like, one of my go-to books is going to be taking a hit for that TV show purpose. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm willing to give it a shot for sure, because I've really enjoyed Walker's writing so far. So I think it could be good. But along the kind of in that similar arena, another Iron Fist trailer for the Netflix show was released.
That was cool.
Dude, what were your thoughts on it?
I'm going to watch it anyways, like regardless.
Yeah.
You know, because the other ones have been well done, and maybe one day we can talk about, hey, what do I rank? People like ranking, people like numbers that descend down and attributing things to that. But what I just watching, like, I remember the teaser was cool, but I felt like there was a little more like grasp of the story. There was a lot of like Batman Begins feelings for me with it. Like, oh, he's returning back to his company. Totally. Who are you? It's just inevitable. Most superheroes.
That's kind of like built into that character, though.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit on it. I felt that way, but it wasn't a bad thing because Batman Begins is a great movie. It felt like it got me a little more invested. Like, oh man, I want to watch this because I know the Iron Fist story, and I'm excited to see how they spit it out.
Yeah, and I feel like watching it, kind of the same thing, kind of the same mindset for me was I am going to watch it. Like, that's kind of a given. Like Marvel and Netflix combo, like those things are pretty much just always going to get at least a go, you know, from me just right off the bat. And then kind of from there, they vary in the amount that I think I'm enjoying them. But the trailer, like, honestly, like, didn't really make me any more excited for the show.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put that out there.
Okay.
Like, I think
it made me more excited.
I feel like the last trailer before this one overall, like, gave me more things that I was like, heck yeah. And this one, I feel like there was one or two moments maybe in the trailer where I was like intrigued, but not like, F yeah, let's watch this, you know? But I will say I really enjoyed that they kind of carried over a little bit of like that hip hop feel from the Luke Cage promotional stuff, which gave like some lightness to that first scene of him walking in and trying to like get into the building.
Yeah.
Like it made it feel like, okay, this is kind of this goofy, like of course, this guy's out of place kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then he starts putting the moves on people, which is the other thing that I thought was really interesting. I felt like the way they cut this trailer, you don't see him actually doing much kung fu.
Yeah.
Like you see him getting ready to use it or like quick shots in between.
Yeah. They're saving that for the hallway scene, dude.
Yeah, that's why I think it's...
the hallway scene is coming.
Which is why, again, like I'm totally going to watch it, but I'm curious, like, I think that's going to decide for me, honestly, how much I enjoy it is what is the actual fighting going to look like and how does it look different from Daredevil and Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Because I think if they develop that and he has his own like fighting stuff and that's the part that's like awesome, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think that's going to do it for me.
Yeah. People complained a little bit about the fighting styles on Cage, but I didn't feel that it was awful with who the character is. He's not a martial artist. He's just a brawler. He's a dude who's going to push you through a wall. And
he's a dude that's really strong and you can't hurt him. So why would he need to exert the same amount of energy as everybody else?
Yeah.
I even loved that he had his bar fight scene in Jessica Jones season 1. And that was the first time where I was like, yep, I'm bought in. Because it was just rad watching him just kind of stand there and kind of flick people away like it wasn't anything.
Yeah.
Because they're regular dudes. There's no reason for him to exert any of that energy.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, like with Luke Cage season 1, I don't feel like they really took it anywhere towards the end of the season. But at the beginning of it, I had like no problem with him taking down like that diner full of guys, like just like it was cool. Nothing.
Right?
Like, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense for a character that like has like super strength and unbreakable skin. Yeah, like he's not gonna move around and do the same kind of stuff. Daredevil has to do all the flips and stuff to kind of get out of the way of things.
I think you enjoy it for different reasons. You enjoy Daredevil because, oh man, that's crazy, this guy, the way he moves. And then for Luke Cage, it's almost like it's funny because, dude, he's just taking those fools out. And you actually, I think you enjoy the fall of those people. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Totally. It's like a creative way that each of those guys gets taken out.
I just didn't. The only thing I didn't like was the fight he had in the street. Like that was just
at the end.
In the end. But
I feel like that's pretty unanimous with everybody.
Yeah, that's another day.
Iron Fist trailer. I'm feeling Iron Fist is a let's go for sure.
For sure. Yeah, I'm super pumped on that and excited. So staying with some Marvel news. This week it was kind of revealed through different sites that they had their big writers like retreat, and what they're trying to do is go back to the way it was. Not the way it was, but going back to original lineups and things like that. Do you have any thoughts on what that means? Because it kind of said, oh, they're going to go back to the original faces of, of who Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America are, but keep the stuff that's new. So your thoughts?
I think it's really interesting. I have a few thoughts. So I'd say first, like just hearing that news again, like just if you've followed comics, even if you don't read them regularly, like if you follow comic book news and that kind of stuff, there's always like this cycle to these kinds of things. And so hearing that, I'm like, yeah, that would make sense if that is true, that they're going to do something like that. They're going to bring stuff back around to kind of like, here's our standard characters, even though some of them are dead, some of them are evil now, whatever. Like they'll find a way to kind of bring those back. And again, like I think they just kind of come back to those, especially I feel like in the last 10, 15 years, that's become a regular thing where you're always going to try out things, but then it's going to come back to the original dudes. Batman's going to die, but then he's going to come back to life,
Yeah.
Captain America's going to be bad, but then they're probably going to figure something out and do that. You know what I mean?
He was a werewolf.
There you go. Oh, gosh, dude. And it was all a dream. And so I think that's my first initial reaction is like, okay, sure. Like, that's fine. I am curious the reasoning for it. Like if it's purely like a synergy kind of thing, or if it is like I think, and it's paid off. They've done a really hard push to diversify like what their characters look like.
Yeah.
Like, and even like, I would even hand it to them. And I think it's varying levels of success in my mind as far as like how much I enjoyed each of them. But I'm like, dude, good for you guys to have the balls to like take not just random characters and change them up, but take like all your mainstay characters that are like in movies, in TV shows, in cartoons, and completely flip it. And I would say for the most part, that's paid off really well for them. So I am curious, and probably my third thought about it, I'm curious to see where it all lands.
Yeah.
So how true is this report? And if it's true, what's that balance going to look like for them? Mm-hmm. Like what does it look like to keep that momentum they have going, which I think is really good. Like been reading more Marvel than I have in years. But what does it look like to, to keep those characters in the mix? Because I think like they're just now starting with really good momentum on like Ironheart. Sam Wilson, Captain America, has been going real well.
Yeah.
All the champions and stuff, like She-Hulk just being Hulk, totally awesome Hulk. Like, so if they go back to, or not, maybe not even go back to, if they put back in the mix those kind of major, kind of iconic classic characters, again, I think kind of in the movie kind of realm, Marvel's earned some trust there from me to at least like see what happens, because they've been putting out, I think, some really good stuff in the last year.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
I'm kind of indifferent because I'm not as invested in their universe right now. I like what I do read, but some of it feels kind of like, is this going to last? Is it meant to be long lasting, or is it meant to be a little spot here and we're going to go back to status quo?
This potential change or the current
run. So okay. I'm like, I think it's cool. Like, I think there's things that really work well. Like Miles Morales, I feel I enjoy that Spider-Man comic more than the Peter Parker version, especially right now. And a lot of it's like, I just don't even like the new Peter Parker suit. I think it looks stupid and it lights up. And I know there's a story reason, but it looks like the 2012 Amazing Spider-Man movie. If it's going to go status quo, then that sucks. I do kind of like the interesting stuff, like the Totally Awesome Hulk. I read a few issues of that through Marvel Unlimited.
Yeah.
And just, it's fun and it's different.
It's
and
really fun.
It doesn't take away from Bruce Banner, but
there's like an legacy aspect that I feel like they've never really had, and they're like really digging into that.
If it's done well, I think what I like when DC's done legacy, it's never been the main characters. I mean, there's been time like Dick Grayson's been Batman, where it's like, man, what if they decided way back in the day? Like the only time they ever did it really was with Barry Allen, Wally West, and it worked out fine. Everyone loved Wally West until, for whatever reason, DC was like, we got to put Barry Allen back in it. No one was really begging for Barry Allen to come back. I think they were just trying to get their IPs set for like movies and things like that. I think that's what they're trying to do, align things.
Yeah.
Maybe Marvel's trying to go back to that. And I'm trying not to say things that may sound offensive because things can be misconstrued and whatever like that. But I think it's there's nothing wrong with having two Spider-Mans going around. I think it works, at least in that case. Now, once there's like 5 Spider-Mans, I think there's a problem. Same thing. Yeah. If there's 5 Flashes, it gets like, well, who the heck's the Flash and who's Mr. Zip, or what are you going to call these guys?
Mr. Zip.
Yeah, like I know there was a lot of like, people have said, oh, like She-Hulk, that's a super like, that's not. I don't know. It's gender oppressive to call someone that, and whatever. Like I think the character kind of owns that name because if you know the character, she's kind of no nonsense, and it's almost like tongue in cheek, But with like Amadeus Cho, like I think, do people always call him Hulk? That's what I'm saying. So if you're hanging out with the Hulk, and he's a different, when he's a Hulk, he's still cognizant and stuff.
Totally.
So are they going, hey Hulk, or are they calling him Amadeus? Like I think with a character like that. Sorry, I don't mean to go so deep and extrapolate it all, but I'm like, same thing with Captain America. That's a title. So whoever's Captain America is Captain America, Right. So with Falcon, I think it's cool. Same thing, I guess, with Thor. But the Thor thing's a little murky because I thought he is Thor. His name is Thor.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm Steve.
Like a little bit of a shit.
Well, now you're Lady Steve. Like, well, nope, I'm Steve. Like, can't you just be a different... Sometimes it's like, be a different name. And then I guess the last one would just be with the new Iron Man. Like, I don't know that story, but I know they're going to change her name to Ironheart, which that's cool.
Yeah. In the latest issue, like that, they landed on
yeah.
that,
So I think as long as they keep the characters because people are connecting to these characters, like if they keep them around and they have a lot of like appraise too, like why get rid of something? Like, I mean, they didn't say they're getting rid of anything. I think they said they're going to bring back the original characters like Iron Man and I guess Thor. So, which again, you already said it. We knew they're coming back. They always come back.
It's always going to happen. Thor has a movie coming out at the end of the year.
There's licensing, there's money involved with all that stuff.
Yeah.
I get it. Here's the thing. The comics can always take a little more risks than I think the feature films can at first because there is merchandising, and that stuff's tied into like licenses and things like that. I think there's a business side of it where they have to do it. Whether we understand or agree with it, I think there's business reasons like, oh, we got to put, Thor back in there because he's got a movie coming out. And
I mean, and the timeline for stuff is so different too. I think that's what gives you more flexibility for print kind of changes, because like a movie, you have to spend years developing that.
Yeah.
So,
Dude, most confusing time for me as a comic book reader was when I was in middle school. They had that Flash TV show on, right? Barry Allen, he's the Flash. I go buy Flash comic. On the cover of this comic, it's all, watch the Flash on CBS. Flash is Wally West. I'm like, what? Because I didn't have any experience with the Flash, except for like I knew him from Super Friends and all that. So that was my first time buying a Flash comic, right? And so it threw me for a loop. But the more I read, I was like, oh, okay, I got it. So you started to, because he mentioned him in almost every issue. Oh, Uncle Barry, this and this. And you're like, Barry's his uncle. Who is he? And then, oh, he was Kid Flash. And then you get invested in, for the rest until they brought him back in 2006. He was a Flash for like 20-something years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, anyway, so sometimes I'm thinking like, just give it a chance. But I understand both sides. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I think
in my long, confusing answer. That was an X-Men confusing answer, by the way.
X-Men confusing.
X-Men confusing right there. So in that answer, I see both sides.
Yeah, no, and that's what I would say too. Like, I think there's some, like, oh man, like, what changes are going to happen? But then you have, a little bit of optimism. Like, hey, let's give it a shot.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, in the end, it's a blip. Like it's cyclical, and there you go. So that's that.
All right. So do you want to talk about some actual comics?
Yeah. I actually want to talk.
Happy New Comic Book Day.
Yeah. Happy New Comic Book Day. I don't even know what's coming out today. Man, I'm so like kind of backlogged. I wanted to ask your thoughts on Powerless. Did you watch Powerless?
Yes. So I watched Powerless.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it a little bit, like not our full thoughts, but not to speak for you completely, but I thought it was interesting that both of us kind of landed on, we'll see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kind of coming out of it. But I came on like, we'll see. And like a little bit more of a positive spin. Mm. And you were like, we'll see.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and we both were kind of in that middle area, but kind of on opposite sides of that. Because for me, I really enjoyed how fun it is. Like, it feels just light and goofy and fun, which, I tend towards anyway. Possibly at the risk, though, of being a little too campy. Like, I feel like they're pushing that line. There were definitely a few lines of dialogue where I was like, was that intentionally over the top, like goofy, or is that just not good writing? Yeah. So I think it's too early to tell. Pilots are always hard to tell. So
this thing was completely reshot too.
Really?
Yeah, because they changed the whole concept. It was supposed to be an insurance company, and they turned it into
the Wayne
security. Yeah, like devices. So they changed which I think insurance sounds like it'd be a better idea.
Yeah,
like how to deal with claim. I don't know. I think
like it'd be more
funnier,
broad. But here's what I liked. They fully embraced being in a world full of crazy superhero stuff.
Yeah.
More than any other show or movie I've seen.
Yeah.
Like, by far. Like, even, like, I love the Flash CW show. I really enjoy the Marvel MCU movies, like, all that stuff. Like, this is, I feel like, the first show where minute one, like, right off the bat, they fully embrace and are unapologetically like, yep, we live in a world full of superheroes and all of this way crazy stuff happens.
Yeah.
And I think that aspect more than anything was like, okay, we'll give it a shot. Mm-hmm. I think some of the jokes seemed a little forced. Like, it seemed like a lighthearted kind of show. And then you have Alan Tudyk's character say the word taint twice. And that isn't inherently bad or like, oh no, I can't watch that show, but it was like jarring to me. Yeah. It was just felt like, whoa, okay. Okay.
It felt like it was forced edginess to me.
Yes.
Like, oh, we're gonna be edgy.
Like, it was the one edgy thing. Because even there's the sex robot joke, which was like way more understated, and I thought was really funny. Like it's just walking
the other guy
away
walks
with
off
pieces,
with the boxes.
with the box and the pieces. You're like, yeah, the robot doesn't work. I'm like, see, now that's funny.
Yeah.
Like that's a funny joke.
Yeah. So I would say that if there wasn't a bunch of DC universe connected stuff, I probably wouldn't watch this show. But
Yeah.
pilot. So I'm gonna give it like at least 6 episodes to like feel. So the positives, the credits were freaking cool.
Yes.
The opening credits of that show were really well done. I loved how they took, historical books and then zoomed in and like
Zoomed in on the person.
Yeah.
Dude, I thought like if I was one of those cast members, I would totally get like that art like framed or something like that.
Like,
It's
can
cool.
I get a print of that? So many Easter eggs in that show. So I made a list.
Can you list some of them?
And I don't know if I got all of them, but I did see that Van Wayne's an actual character in the comics. If you go back, he's like,
Okay, I liked his character.
I thought. He's a great antagonist.
Taint line aside, like it's just, and we might have to like bleep that out, but whatever.
No, we're fine. that'll go through iTunes.
But that kind of like character of like, hey, I know Bruce Wayne, but I'm trying to prove myself to him. I just thought that was kind of a fun idea.
Yeah, and I mean, there's precedence for there to be other Waynes in the comics. Like, it's not like even in the 0 Year story there was another Wayne in. But anyways,
but it's Easter eggs.
Yeah, sorry. So there was Jack-o'-lantern, which I don't know if you've ever heard of Jack-o'-lantern, and Crimson Fox. I knew
Crimson
them.
Fox. I knew who that was.
I knew them from the old Justice League International days. Like, so I didn't really like her costume too much, but whatever. The effects in the costumes kind of looked a little cheeseball, but maybe it's intentional. Jimmy Olsen from the Superman Christopher Reeve movies played Vanessa Hudgens' dad.
I did not.
There was that. There was Starro. There was a thing of Starro in like the papers.
Yes, that I saw that.
Adam West's voiceover was cool. I was like, hey, it's Mayor West. Joker and Venom. That was really a Easter egg. It was kind of a plot thing. The LexCorp. What was it? Saying that bodysuit. Oh, it's a LexCorp. So like they're expanding the world. So it's really cool. It feels like nothing's off limits because they straight up call Superman. They straight up reference Batman.
That's what's so fun about it.
That's what's cool. Like it's not like, and I think I read a thing with one of the writers or producers. It's not like Ben Affleck's going to come on the show or whoever, and they're not even saying they exist in that cinematic universe. He said they actually exist on Earth. Oh God, I thought he said Earth like P or something like that. Like they just called it because there's 52 Earths. Let's pick one.
Yeah.
And so he said that's the Earth they live on, and you never know. And he said it would be cool if we had cameos. Maybe Grant Gustin could be on the show, but not as the Flash. Maybe a pizza delivery guy.
That would be funny.
Little winks and nods. So So I'm definitely willing to give it another like go. There was one line he said. They kind of poked fun at BVS and it's like having an altercation based on vaguely defined reasons.
Yes, dude, I laughed at that. That was
one. See, that one's fun but only like we're gonna get it. Like, I always use my mom as a reference. She ain't gonna get it. She's gonna be like, huh? Like,
see, but I'm okay with that. Like, I'm
okay with it too. Like,
I was gonna say I watched Community, and that was like 98% inside jokes that entire time, and I was totally okay with it.
Yeah, I like the kryptonite glass windows. Yes. What if there's a fire?
Oh, and it doesn't hold up to just regular stuff very well.
Yeah. So I mean, so there's definitely like a hint of like it could be clever, it could be fun. So pilots usually like, unless it's lost. Like pilots are kind of weak. So.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about dialogue, jokes, Easter eggs. How do you feel about just the characters themselves? Like, do you feel like any of those like make you want to come back to that? I think I think Alan Tudyk, I think he's pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean, I just like Alan Tudyk, and so I just as a fan of things he does, he's cool. I've never seen Vanessa Hudgens in anything besides I think she was in High School Musical or something like that, right?
Is that where she's from? I'm not familiar.
I think she was.
I'm not gonna lie.
I think she was like part of that deal. I could be wrong. Other than
I really love Danny Pudi from Community.
Yeah.
I did not love his character in this one at all.
Yeah,
I wanted to, but it's hard to not see him as Abed.
Yeah, that's what I was like. He kind of just felt like Abed light to me.
See, I liked the other two people working in the lab.
Yeah, Ron Funches, like he's a comedian. He's the guy they added to the show. He wasn't originally in the show.
Oh, really? I thought he was great.
No, they added him. And then there was Jenny Pearson. She's Wendy. I was wondering, is she like Marvin and Wendy? I thought she was funny, like her, she just totally hates the Emily character.
Oh,
Emily
yeah,
Locke. But I didn't mind the characters. I just want to see. I don't know them yet, if that's fair. So let's
I
see
think that's
them.
completely
I mean,
fair.
it's obviously we know who our 4 main are going to be, and then I just want to see how they work in the universe and hopefully how it ties in. It's a funny concept. I'd rather it be smart funny than like cornball funny.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. So would you say, is it a go for you?
Right now, it's for me. It's a go. For anybody else, it might be. For me, it's a go. So go check it out if you like DC Comics and you like NBC comedies on Thursday night.
Yeah, it
Is
feels
it on Thursday
like
night?
both of those things.
Yeah, if you like those things, go for it. So
another comic book TV show. It actually premieres tonight.
Yeah.
We saw a little bit in the Super Bowl teasers and stuff. Is Legion on FX? How do you feel going into that one?
Man, just watching the little previews, it looks super interesting. Like I'm definitely intrigued. It's just, man, the X-Men movies aren't connected to it, but I've read reports that say it's kind of connected. It's not connected. Well, it may connect,
Which isn't that different from the rest of
X's
Marvel
son, right?
TV versus Marvel MCU.
Very true. So that being said, looks really good. I hope it does well. Like I'm intrigued. I can't say anything until I watch it, but
I'm gonna try to watch it.
I think like Fox, the stuff they do on their television shows are usually so much more engaging than like their licensed film properties. I don't know how the divisions work.
Yeah, agreed.
So,
and
looks
then
good.
The fact that it's on FX too, which has such good shows, like I'm optimistic for sure.
Yeah.
I've actually not spent even in my early love of X-Men characters, I never spent a lot of time with Legion, so it's one of those things where I'm like, oh yeah, like I vaguely am familiar with that. I'm curious to see, to learn more about it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely on my. It's a let's go of exciting for us, I guess. Let's go check it out. Let's go watch this.
It's a preemptive let's go.
It's a preemptive let's go, but could definitely turn into a that was a Age of Apocalypse. Freaking, or was it? No, sorry, not Age of Apocalypse.
Well, as long as something
X-Men,
crashing into the ground forms an X, I think we're good.
Yeah, hopefully. So funny. I was actually driving the other day, and there was like this apartment estate I drove by, and the trees were forming an X, and that was hilarious.
You just can't escape it.
You can't escape the X. So, all right, so let's jump into some comics, man.
Sounds good.
We like comics here, and so, how are you feeling? How are you feeling about the comics?
The comics. Last week was a pretty light week for me as far as the books that I'm getting. So I got a back issue of Teen Titans number 3, and Champions number 5. Teen Titans is maybe like a go for me.
Okay.
I'm going to check out probably one more issue to see if it's worth sticking around for.
Yeah.
But so far, not super stoked on it, but I want to give it a shot because, again, I like the characters. I think the art style is really cool. The writing just feels a little clunky to me right now.
Yeah.
And Champions number 5 was the kind of big thing you see right from the start on the cover is Gwenpool is in the issue. And the whole thing as a concept is funny. I will give it that. But again, this is one where the writing itself and the dialogue just felt like maybe I'm not familiar with Gwenpool as a character and that's just how she's written. But she was basically like following around the champions like, yeah, I'm one of you guys. Like, I'm totally going to do it. But she's just completely screwing stuff up the whole time. And I think it's kind of an interesting concept. I'm not super tied into all of the Gwen variations of characters. But I will say the other thing about it is Champions, if anyone's reading it out there, like it's dealing with a lot more like kind of like social kind of issues.
Yeah.
Which to me, like I was like, yeah, that makes sense as a hook for like teenagers who are all diverse. Like only one of them is a white male. And so it's like a pretty broad spectrum of people and cultures like represented in the different characters.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense that like, yeah, they would gravitate like toward like, okay, these guys are mistreating these women in this country. Let's go. This guy is, like kidnapping children for sex trafficking. Like there's these things where I think it makes a lot of sense for it. This would be the first issue where it felt a little like heavy handed. Like it didn't feel like a natural like story rolling out, but like, hey guys, here's this sheriff who's racist and this stuff is happening. And so, and all the while, like with Gwenpool kind of doing her like quips and stuff the entire time, it was a little tough for me to hang with. But the book in general, though, honestly, is still a let's go for me because I think it's a good book in general. But I'm curious to see if that changes in the next issue. What are you going to say about?
No, I was saying Mark Waid's writing that. He's a good writer. Like I haven't. It's funny. Like I feel like he's written some really great stuff. Like his Flash runs have been good.
Mm-hmm. He had a Daredevil run.
His Daredevil run was good. I think as a guy, he's got to be in his like mid 50s or something like that. Like he's writing these young characters. I don't know.
So I mean, it would make sense. Like enough to where I didn't even like really pay attention to the first few issues that it was Mark Waid writing it, just because I was enjoying it so much. And this was the first issue where I was like, wait, who's writing this again? Oh, yeah. Maybe it won't always feel natural because of who's writing it. But overall, like I like getting to know the characters. I think it's a cool setup. The group dynamic I think is interesting and kind of keeps stuff going. So I'm just curious to see how he keeps it up.
Yeah.
What about you? You got what this week?
Yeah. So last week, and I guess we kind of talked about that. We're kind of going to mostly talk about what we got last week since today is Wednesday. We haven't even been able to get our stuff yet. And so it gives you guys a chance to read, catch up, and like disagree, agree, or whatever. And so,
totally.
Yeah. So I got Batman 16, Superman 16, and actually Superman 14 and Batman 14. I missed the issues before. And I got the first part of the Kamandi challenge, which is really fun. And then I got Walking Dead. I think it was a 162 because they were giving it out for free.
Oh, yeah, 163.
163, yeah. So I haven't read that one yet. But Batman 16. It's the first part of the I Am Bane story. It was a good story. I felt like the art was a little like weak, and I don't know why. I feel like it's back to David Finch doing the art, who did the first I Am Gotham storyline, right. And I feel like his art was way stronger in those first issues. And here, I don't know, he had to have taken a break because during the whole like I Am Suicide story, it wasn't him doing the art. So if it felt a little wonky. There was some fun stuff. It had all the Robins in it, minus Tim, because spoilers, if you're reading Detective, he's killed, missing. But he's not killed. He's missing in some type of rebirth situation. And then, but it had Duke Thompson, who was from I Am Robin or We Are Robin. And sorry, the whole Batman thing's been I am this, I am that. So he was from the We Are Robin book. So he's being trained to be a different thing. And there was a point where all the characters are well, that's what a Robin does. And he's like, well, I'm not a Robin. And he completely like defies what Bruce Wayne says. And so Dick kind of notices that. So there was a cool character moments. It was kind of silly, but it was funny. It's nice to have a funny moment in a Batman book because sometimes it could be super serious. But when you get like, I really like Jason Todd. Like I was against him coming back, but he's really fun when he's mixed up with Dick Grayson and Damian Wayne. There's a fun dynamic, but they're inside a Batman themed burger joint.
Oh yeah.
And so it was a really funny thing. So anyways, I give that book, that's just a let's go. That was a let's go. I think the issues before, the two Catwoman and Batman issues, were gotta goes. They were really
I'd say the whole really run up till now.
Well,
man.
Yeah, this whole Batman rebirth.
Tom King is killing it.
I'm gonna say something. I think I am enjoying his run way more than I was enjoying Scott Snyder's. And Scott Snyder's is a great writer. Minus the two Monster Men issues, but those are kind of one-offs. I'll take them out of the stack, but I'm really liking what Tom King is doing. Superman 16, and I'm not gonna get into that yet because it's a big storyline. It's a little more overarching.
Yeah.
And not that this one isn't, but it's in the middle, and so I'm kind of saving my thoughts. But Kamandi, super fun. I can't wait to review that one because, it's just a fun idea. I think it could be jarring with different artists and storytellers. Like the consistency can probably throw people off, but it's a great. I thought it was a fun idea. It's a Jack Kirby concept. This lost boy looking for his parents, goes on adventures with animals and dinosaurs and all this weird stuff. But it's kind of classic DC, but it's fun. I like the idea, and it's. I think it's pushing me to read something a little different again. My last experience with the whole Kamandi idea was they had the...
Is that Wednesday Comics?
No, I didn't read it, the Wednesday comics.
Oh, okay.
But I read it. He teamed up basically with Superboy, the Connor Kent version of Superboy back in like early 2000s, or they did a story where Superboy was lost in his like world, and it was cool. Like it just melded well.
Yeah.
And so they kind of made Superboy last boy on Earth. And anyways, good idea. I think it's fun. I think it would be a fun freaking movie. I think, and it could be, you don't have to make 7 of them. You can make 1. Maybe 2 or 3. Maybe it's a trilogy, Kamandi trilogy. DC needs to do that. Like if they make movies, which they do, make that Kamandi movie and Legion of Superheroes. Yeah, they're trying really hard. Hey you guys, work on those movies.
We want to do movies.
So yeah.
What's really interesting about that too is not just the story and the characters and stuff like that, but the fact that it's like the whole thing is that it's the challenge that it's like we're going to write this story and then the next people that we get handed off to, they have to take it from our cliffhanger and do something with it.
Yeah.
That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, it's fun. And it's not completely unoriginal. I feel like they've done it before in the past maybe, but I really like it. So to just go back, Kamandi, I would say it's a let's go. Give it a try. Same thing with Batman and Superman also. Superman's just been, I would say Superman as a whole, that whole Rebirth Superman title is a gotta go. It's great Superman comics, right?
Yeah, because I'm following up a little behind, like in some back issues, and so I just read through the arc, the Escape from Dinosaur Island.
Yeah,
and I thought that was fantastic.
Right,
it was a little like ping in my heart, like for Darwin Cook, and remembering like that happening a few months back with him passing away. So it felt like a really cool story in and of itself, but then like, oh yeah, it's kind of an homage like to New Frontier and that kind of stuff, and the losers being involved. But yeah, it just shows like, I think for me over and over again, I think we briefly touched on this in an episode before, but Superman just, the way he's writing it, it's just a lot of heart, man. Like a lot of heart. And I feel like maybe if people focused less on the prim and proper and just goody kind of aspect of Superman and just went with like heart, you know what I mean? Like that's what, not like Captain Planet, like heart. But just that, like, there's this amount of care and stuff that's pretty fantastic when you pair that with the fact that just remembering that he can pretty much do whatever he wants, but he chooses to like really care and help people. And I feel like honing in on that has been really, really cool.
Yeah. I think the core of Superman is, like you said, heart and adventure. If you do that, I think you're in. So I would like to see more of that in the films if they ever make Man of Steel 2.
Around to that.
So yeah, that would be fun. Do you got anything else, sir?
No, those were the comics from this last week. I'm excited to go by this afternoon and get some stuff this week.
And we'll put that on the social media. So which leads me to social media. Matt, if someone wanted to send us a message, a thought, or like, hey, I like this, how could they reach us, man?
They could reach us on Let's Go Comics Show, both on Twitter and Instagram.
Or if you want to email us, letsgocomicshow@gmail.com. You can visit our website at www.letsgocast.com, where all of the Let's Go Cast, the Let's Go Cast multiverse exists.
Yes, dude.
So if you want to listen to the proper Let's Go Proper show, please share the show with your friends. Use the hashtag Let's Go Comic Show, and we would love to hear your thoughts. Leave us 5 stars and a great comment on iTunes.
Please.
Because that can help put the show at the top of the lists, even though we're only we're fresh, we're young, we're just growing peach fuzz on our face.
Hungry.
Yeah, we just want to have fun and talk about comic book stuff with our friends. So, that being said, my name is Justin.
My name is Matt.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.